Today I'm going to show you a few simple steps that will make any photograph or YouTube thumbnail that you're working with come to life and pop, and it's really easy to use. And to do this, we're going to use the Snapseed app, which is totally free. There are no ads, and it's available on both Android and iOS devices. And if you don't yet have this on your phone, you need to put this on your phone. For the tutorial that I'm going to do today, it is going to be a basic entry-level tutorial if you're not that experienced with Snapseed or you're not quite sure what to do with it. The first image that we're going to edit today is going to be a photograph of a woman, and the second image that we're going to work with is a photograph of food. But it doesn't matter what sort of image that you have. What I'm going to show you today applies to everything. And gamers, this applies to you too. You can take screenshots of your gameplay, walk through the steps that I'm about to show you, and make your images look a lot better. And this is the sort of thing that you want to do when you're using your gameplay images for your thumbnails. So let me open up Snapseed and show you how this is done. So when you open up the Snapseed app, you want to choose a photo out of your gallery to work with. The first photo we're going to work on is a portrait of a woman. So I'm going to tap on that and she's going to open up. Down here on the very bottom, you're going to see Looks, Tools, and Export. We're going to tap on Tools and it's going to load up a bunch of tools here. The first tool that we want to work with in this tutorial is in the top left and it's called Tune Image. You want to tap on that. Now, as you push your finger on the screen and move it up or down, a menu is going to pop up. You're going to see brightness, contrast, saturation, ambience, highlights, shadows, and warmth. This is the main thing. This is the juice that's going to make your photo come to life. So the first thing that I'm going to do for this particular image, because it looks a little cold and it doesn't really pop, is I'm going to change the brightness and I'm going to go into ambience and I'm going to add some saturation and warmth. Now to add these, once you select one, you simply move your finger to the left or to the right. And as you see here on the top, the brightness numbers are changing. So I'm going to add just a little bit of brightness. I'm going to press down and go to the next one, which is saturation. I'm going to move to the right and give it just a little bit of saturation. I'm going to hold down again, go to the next one, which is ambience. I'm going to go to the right again, add some ambience. I'm going to push down again. I'm going to go down to warmth. Go to the right. Now you see what's happening here as I change these. It's adding a lot of color to the image. So I'm just going to play with these a little bit until I find a look that I like. Now at any time along the way, if you're curious where you've started and where you're at now, on the top right, you can tap on this little icon here and it's going to show you where you started. So this is where we started and this is where we are now. You can see the image comes to life quite a bit. So I'm happy with this. And on the bottom right-hand side, I'm going to tap on the check mark to save it. Now I'm going to go back down to Tools and I'm going to go down and find the portrait icon. I'm going to tap on that. And right away, it's going to analyze the photo. And what it's going to do is it's going to add some smoothness to the skin and some whites to the eyes. So if I use two fingers to zoom in and then I go to the top right to see what it looked like before and after, this is before and this is after. You can see what it's doing to the face. It's really bringing some clarity to the face and some whites to the eyes. It's smoothing the skin quite a bit, and I like the way this looks. Now, if you want to adjust this, you're going to go down to the bottom center to the levels. You're going to tap on that, and you can adjust any of this. So if you want more whiteness to the eyes, you can simply go to the left or to the right. If you want to smooth the skin out more, you choose that and go to the left or to the right. Now I'm going to zoom back out using two fingers, and I'm going to go to the top right again to see where we started. And you see what it's doing? It's putting a focus on her face and lighting it up and putting whiteness to the eyes. And I like this a lot. Now, after each tool adjustment is saved, you can tap and hold on the image and it's going to show you where you started and where you are now. And you can see this is a drastic difference. And you can see the color that it's adding and it looks a lot better. The blues are coming out. And this is the sort of thing that you want to do with your pictures. And it doesn't matter if you're on Instagram or sending these out on Facebook or using them as a YouTube thumbnail. If you want to add life to your photos and really make them pop, this is how you do it. Now, I'm happy with this, but I'm going to play with it just a little bit more. I'm going to go back down to Tools and I'm going to scroll down to Vignette. I'm going to tap on that and it's going to add a little bit of vignette around the edges. The first thing I'm going to do is come down to the inner brightness and I'm going to brighten up the center just a little bit. Then I'm going to tap and hold and I'm going to go to outer brightness. And I don't want such a heavy vignette, so I'm going to back it off just a little bit, and then I'm going to save it. Right? You can see this is quite a difference. This really makes the photo come to life. So I'm happy with this, and this is as far as we're going to go on this first tutorial. We'll get into more advanced things a little bit later, but for this, I just want to walk you through the basics. So we want to save this image by going to the bottom and tapping on Export. And here you'll get some options on how you want to save it. For this particular photo, I want to save a copy of the photo. So I'm going to tap on that. It's going to run through all the filters, then it's going to tell you that the photo is saved, and then you can go on and use the photo anywhere you want. Now, before I move on to the next image, I want to hear what you think about Snapseed or what your favorite photo editor is. Do you use Snapseed? Do you use PixArt? What do you use? Go down, leave a comment below. I read every single question and comment, and I reply to as many of them as possible. And when this video is over, I'm going to go down there and carry on this conversation and find out what your favorite photo editing apps are. Now, let's move on to the next image. Now for the food photo, we're going to walk through the same process, but I'm going to show you how to highlight certain colors to add some more color to those individual colors. And boy, I just love Indian food. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So I'm going to go back to tools down here in the bottom. I'm going to go to tune image. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little brightness. I'm going to come down, I'm going to add some saturation. I'm going to add some ambience. Look at that right there. Just ambience by itself. I mean, look at what that does to colors. This is the sort of thing that you want to do, especially with your YouTube thumbnails. So I'm going to add a little bit of ambience. I might add some warmth. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom right and I'm going to save it. I'm going to go to tools. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to find the selective tool, which is right here. I'm going to tap on that. And the way this works is anywhere I tap, it's going to drop an anchor. So I'm going to use 2 fingers and zoom in, and I'm going to drop an anchor right here on this red area. So you see it's B. What that means is that's brightness. So if I tap and hold and move my finger, I can change the brightness, contrast, saturation, or the structure. I'm going to change the saturation of this red area. So that point is dropped, and I'm just going to simply move my finger to the right, and you see the red is changing. If I move it to the left, it goes the other way. So I'm going to crank this up because I want this red to pop. Now that this anchor is set and the saturation is there, I'm going to hit the check mark and save it. I'm going to zoom out a bit, and I'm going to move it around. I'm going to change the color of this. So I'm going to go back, selective. I'm going to drop that right there, go back to saturation. I'm going to crank that up and save it. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to crank up the greens on the broccoli. I'm going to go back, selective, drop that right on a green. I'm going to come in and change the saturation again. And that's going to change all of the greens that match the color of the greens that I've selected with this anchor. Look at that. Before and after. You see how these colors are starting to pop? It looks great, doesn't it? So I'm going to do another thing here. I'm going to zoom into one of the greens here in the corner. I'm going to do another selective. I'm going to tap on that. Back to saturation again. I'm going to add some color, just a little bit, and I'm going to save that. So each thing that I'm doing, it's selectively adding more color to the image. Now I love how this looks. I think this looks fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this. I'm going to go down to export, and I'm going to save it. So it's really that easy with just those few basic steps to really make your photos come to life. But there's something that I want you to keep in mind. I used a lot of saturation in these images and a lot of ambience, but it's really easy to go too far. The last thing you want people to do is say, oh, that picture's been photoshopped, because that's what they're going to say. They're not going to say it's been snapseeded, because nobody's saying that. Are we saying that? Is anybody saying snapseeded? No? And I know you've all come across those pictures that they just looked bizarre and they looked fake. So don't overdo it with the saturation and ambience. You want it to look real. You want it to look alive. You want it to look eye-catching. You just don't want to cross that line. So use those sparingly. Now, this was a very basic and entry-level tutorial. If you want to get into more intermediate things or more advanced things, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to master your mobile, make better content on your phone, or be a mobile YouTuber, be sure to hit that subscribe button followed by the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. And I'll see you in the next video.